I'm joined here in the studio with Jami Floyd. She's a legal analyst at New York Public Radio and the local host of WNYC's All Things Considered. Let me start with something that happened last night. I want to play a clip here for you, if I can. At Princeton University, current Supreme Court Justices Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan remarked on their experiences in the Supreme Court in what they acknowledged was a politically divided time. Let's take a listen.
And it's an incredibly important thing for the court to guard is this reputation of being fair, of being impartial, of being neutral, and of not being simply an extension of the terribly polarized political process and environment that we live in. And you know, this is a challenge.
Jami Floyd, I want to start with you. As the other two branches of government become increasingly polarized, will it be possible to keep that out of the Supreme Court? I mean, what kind of damage has been done to that institution during this confirmation hearing?
Well, clearly, Elena Kagan and Sonia Sotomayor, who was there with her at Princeton, are concerned about that. And I'm so glad, Ari, that you started here with the two of the women justices speaking on this point. They're clearly very concerned, and this is an extraordinary thing that they spoke about this. Justice Kagan went on to say that the legitimacy of the court relies upon public confidence in the court and in its independence, that if the public loses respect for the court and loses a sense of the court's credibility, that they won't listen to what we tell them to do. That's basically what she came out and said. We tell them, we don't have an army, she said. We don't have an army. We can't order with masses of force the public to do things. We order through our legitimacy. And without that, all is lost for the court, and that's her concern. And she said that last night, and it was a bold thing to say, and I'm so glad you started there because it shows tremendous concern on the part of at least these two justices about what's happened these last few weeks.
Conversation that was spurred by Susan Collins yesterday. She made an impassioned argument for her reasoning on why she voted the way she did. She made her, in her case, she talked about the presumption of innocence, which resonates enormously with the people who support Kavanaugh right now. She's saying it comes back down to that, and I needed more evidence to corroborate this. That seems like a reasonable argument.
But this was not a court of law. And the Kavanaugh detractors, if you will, pointed that out. We're not in a court of law, and perhaps we need a different standard to apply when we're to advise and give consent to a president who's making an appointment. And so now Justice Kavanaugh, I hope, and I'm sure he was listening to Senator Collins when she made an appeal to him to set aside the bias that was revealed in his opening statement, to set aside concerns about why perhaps this was happening to him at this time, because now he's going to have to convince people that some of those words that were spoken, and he wrote in the Wall Street Journal on Thursday, Harvey, that he was speaking as a son, as a father, and as a husband. Perhaps not as a jurist, but now he has to be a jurist on the highest court in the land. And so Senator Collins is hoping that he can return to the temperament we saw in the first round of hearings rather than the man we saw in that second round.
What are the political ripples of this? Does this galvanize enough people on either side? It seems like it's galvanizing both sides to show up to the polls in 6 weeks.
It is the losing side that is motivated in the midterm process. And here that would be women, people who have felt victimized by sexual assault and sexual harassment, and clearly those who ideologically did not agree with the Kavanaugh nomination. So it remains to be seen in just a few short weeks in November.